this morning we are going to talk about not really what matters, but it's making money. I mean, one of the folks I always tell my students from day one that journalism is a business, and in order for us to protect and preserve the First Amendment that you also see on this wall, you have to make money. Because if you're not making money, you're not going to stay in business. And if you're not in business, you cannot practice the First Amendment. As some famous guy once said, the freedom of the press belongs to those who own the press. So, so if you don't own it, it's very difficult to practice that freedom of the press. So without any further ado, we are going to launch with our magazine, Media Money Making, and I'm going to ask one of our magazine students, Hannah, to come welcome our speakers. No? Hannah. Well, there's Hannah on the left, Hannah on the right, so Hannah H instead of Hannah W.
Good morning. My name is Hannah Hurdle, and I'm a magazine student here at the Meek School. It is my pleasure to introduce Bonnie Kintzer, who's the president and CEO of Trusted Media Brands. Please join me in welcoming Bonnie Kintzer.
Good morning. Should I try it? Y'all, how'd I do? Anyway. I know, I live in Connecticut, but I am a diehard New Yorker. Anyway, really delighted to be here for my first trip to the lovely state of Mississippi. So thank you, and of course a special thank you to Samir for inviting me. Ole Miss is one of the most beautiful college campuses. We have a great picture up here with the city of Oxford. And like many southern cities, has incredible architecture and food. I had the great pleasure of having fried green tomatoes yesterday, thanks to Darren and Ryan, which was very exciting for me. And in many ways, the campus of Ole Miss and the city of Oxford reflect the topic that we're going to be speaking about this morning. Did you know that Ole Miss opened its doors in 1848 with 80 students, and for nearly a quarter of a century was the state's only public institution of higher learning? Or that when it opened on 1 square mile of land, the campus consisted of 6 buildings, and that the Lyceum, which is the oldest building on campus, housed all the classrooms along with the faculty offices, and during the Civil War was used as a hospital for both Confederate and Union soldiers. Of course, today, Ole Miss has become one of the state's largest universities, or the state's largest university, with over 24,000 students, 2,200 faculty members, and the main campus itself covers 1,200 acres of land, which includes a golf course, not bad, and an airport in Oxford. So exactly, how does this relate to our topic today, magazine media, how passion and trust fuel growth, or what we at Trusted Media Brands like to call putting the consumer first? First, a little history, because some of you may not realize who or what Trusted Media Brands is. Trusted Media Brands, very much like Ole Miss, has over the past century gone through many transformations. We've evolved from the company founded by media entrepreneur DeWitt Wallace in 1920 with the first publication of the Reader's Digest magazine, to the company that created one of the most successful magazine launches, Every Day with Rachel Ray, now owned by Meredith, but something that we launched proudly, to the company, that's an entirely different detour, to the company that operates what is today the world's largest food and home cooking media brand, Taste of Home. And I was delighted to note yesterday when I got here that there were only 2 Taste of Home magazine left out there, and I assume that Mississippi is a great lover of the Taste of Home brand. Thank you. But like other media companies and Ole Miss, our transformation required adapting and adopting, something you'll hear from me today multiple times, adapting and adopting, to the changes in culture, technology, and resources available to us. In many ways, it's a bit like golfing the course at Ole Miss. You need to be able to use all the clubs in your bag if you want to win a championship. I came back to Trusted Media Brands 4 years ago, after having been gone for 7 years. It was an incredibly difficult time in the history of this company. The company was burdened by debt, had just emerged from its second bankruptcy. Its consumer products business was built on direct mail, relied on traditional print advertising to drive that revenue, and the digital business was using an antiquated website model. The staff, needless to say, was feeling defeated and uncertain of their future. Not a great model for success. So at this point, you're probably asking, Bonnie, why on earth would anyone take the leadership of that company with so many challenges and a seemingly bleak future in an industry gone through seismic change and disruption? And I can tell you that when I shared with people that I was coming back to what was then the Reader's Digest Association, I did get a couple of very unattractive responses. But for me, I definitely came back on a mission to bring this company back to growth. I had been there when the company was thriving, and it was hard for me to see what had happened to the business. And despite the chaos and uncertainty, what struck me was that this was a company that had great content. That content was desired and, most importantly, trusted and valued by the consumer. And we had millions of unmonetized visitors to our website. We just weren't taking advantage of the opportunities of new platforms and products that drive today's magazine media consumer experiences. I made it my mission to reignite and re-energize the people creating those products and to bring in new talent that could drive performance and once again get the company growing. During my first year, I literally met with 100 employees across all of our offices. That's about 25% of our employees. And just as a point of interest, we have almost half of our employees in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The next biggest office is White Plains, which is outside of New York City. Third office is in Manhattan. Small office is in Chicago and LA, and then offices in Toronto and Montreal for our Canada business. When I met with these employees, I really listened to their thoughts and ideas about how the company could regain its footing and lean into new opportunities for growth. You'll hear me say that word growth many, many times because this was a company that wasn't thinking about growth. This was a company that was thinking about survival. What emerged from those meetings and what enabled us to become profitable and, thank the Lord, debt-free was the idea that trusted media brands would only succeed if we embraced a model that put consumers first on all platforms. For those of you who know a little bit about our history, at one point we had almost $2 billion of debt. I did not inherit that much debt, but to become debt-free was really taking away the chains that had really made the company not think about growth and really focus on survival. And as you may have read, over the past year or so, we've brought in nearly 60 new employees to our digital teams in the areas of social media, content creation, SEO, video production, among others, and also across all of those offices. In fact, I forgot we also have an office in Minneapolis, which is, as a percentage, is probably the office that has grown the most and has actually doubled in size. It's where we have our family handyman group. It was clear to me and my leadership team that if we wanted to connect with new generations of consumers, we needed to build our teams with people who were passionate about our brands and excited about finding new ways to bring them to our 63 million consumers, including the 1/3 of our audience who are millennials. In addition, we shifted our business model to focus on how we engage our consumers with products that will excite and delight them on new platforms, as well as new experiences and products. As I mentioned earlier, when I returned to Trusted Media Brands, the company's digital strategy was still very based on a traditional website approach. We really had only skimmed the surface of our digital opportunities. In order to restart our digital business, my team decided that we needed to reinvest not only in products we created, but also in the people behind those products. And again, when you think about what it means to turn around a company or to grow a company, it is not only the great products, it is the great people. We knew, for example, that in a content-hungry digital world, we were barely feeding our audiences. Despite being one of the original content creation and user-generated media companies in the United States, our content teams were creating less than 100 pieces of content on a monthly basis. It was a bit like buying one slice of pizza when you need to feed your kid's entire Little League team. In addition to our investment in the digital teams, we also invested in technologies that would enable us to quickly ramp up the amount of content created as well as the platforms where it was delivered. The result, today our brand teams create around 2,000 pieces of high-quality written and video content a month, We deliver on multiple platforms, and according to the latest data from ComScore, the Trusted Media Brands digital network now reaches 63 million consumers a month, and we're among the top 30 out of 2,000 digital lifestyle networks. In fact, based on the most recent data from the Association of Magazine Media, our Taste of Home, Family Handyman brands are now the top 2 magazine media brands on Pinterest, outperforming such well-known brands, sorry, Darren, such as All Recipes, House Beautiful, Cooking Light, and Bon Appetit. We are incredibly proud. At Trusted Media Brands, we take a hard look at the people we reach, how we reach them, and what they prefer on each platform and device. We know that what a video user loves on Facebook may not work on Instagram or on our site. Even before we distribute content, we ask ourselves, should this be a video, or an article, or a slideshow, or all of these? If it is just a video, what's the best length or the platform or device? Are the photos engaging enough? Do we have the right headline? I think it's easy for people to think that when you have a great piece of content, it can grow across platforms as is, and that's just not the case. Each platform is different, and the voice of that platform and how you lead your headlines are different. And so for us, we separate each platform, analyze what readers engage with the most on each of them, and then based on the data, create the best content for that platform. By taking this approach, we've been able to significantly ramp up both the quantity and the quality of our content across channels. Whoops. Another key to improving this engagement has been our focus on ensuring the content moves quickly and easily across devices. We've invested in technology that has significantly decreased our page load speed by cutting it half and half over the past year. This improved performance is both good for users and our marketing partners, advertisers, which ultimately is good for our bottom line. This focus on improved performance also includes our design. Like many publishers, we build our content using responsive design so that it moves seamlessly across our devices. You see there Taste of Home going across desktop, tablet, and phone. We also pay close attention to how that content is designed. For example, when we redesigned our Family Handyman e-newsletter, which narrowed the header to pull more content up to be visible, this allowed the reader to really see more content sooner because so much of our traffic, as everybody else's, is going to the mobile phone. In addition, we entered into what I like to think of as a fully committed relationship with the users. How do we achieve this? Our approach is to build a strong personal relationship with each reader by being both an informer and a friend. The content we create for each platform has to speak to millions of consumers, but also make each of those people feel as if we're speaking directly to them. That's why we are constantly looking at their responses to our content, the comments they're making on our social media channels, and the conversations they're having with other readers. By listening and responding to their questions and comments, we're deepening the user experience and engagement across all of our platforms, from print to digital. As I mentioned earlier, we have had tremendous success expanding our products and brands with millennial audiences, and in particular, millennial moms. With our Taste of Home brand, we look at the shared characteristics among millennial moms and now create content specifically tailored for them and the platform they prefer. We believe that we can create a deeper engagement and conversation with millennial moms by fully leveraging our data on their personal preferences. We also focus on how sometimes different audiences with the same passion use our various platforms and channels and optimize for those channels. On Facebook, for example, we have found that our fan base for Taste of Home loves to share recipes across generations, with 25-year-olds sharing cooking tips with 50-year-olds and vice versa. By optimizing this engagement on all of our platforms, we have been able to grow our digital traffic across the company's portfolio by almost 20%. For us, the key is understanding these different audiences, their shared passion for our brands, and the best way to create customized content for the different channels or event offerings. This highly targeted strategy also gives us the opportunity to offer them new products, ranging from e-learning courses to instructional videos. Right up here is an example of a new business that we launched, which is My DIY University, a series of online classes that come from our team at the Family Handyman. We learned a lot. The first year of testing, we went out to market and we thought, we will have classes at a lower price range, $29 for painting or learning to trim. And what we learned, in fact, is that people who want to take online classes are very serious DIYers, and they're happy to actually spend a lot more money. And so this year, if you go to our site, what you'll see is $400 classes on teaching contractors how to do accounting or digital marketing. You'll see a $200 class on how to build a tiny house. And so it was an interesting way, and I think for all of us, we launch products and then we learn and we adjust. And so what we learned from this was that we had a more niche business at a much, much higher price point. And that was exciting and good learning for all of us. So we adjusted. Of course, we know that if an audience is buying one of our own products, they are much more receptive to buying one or more of our advertisers' products. Consumers know they can trust our content, and marketers understand that this trust is supported by a brand-safe environment for their products. In fact, according to a recent study we did with advertiser perceptions, 8 out of 10 marketers believe that advertising in brand-safe environments is a high or top priority for them. In addition to having a brand-safe environment, we also need to have great content and the ability to be extremely nimble. We are, of course, a much smaller company than we were in the past at 400 employees, and we have definitely made a commitment to make that into an advantage. We can move with great speed. We do not have bureaucracy. We can make decisions in the hallway. Last year, we created a special health issue of the Reader's Digest magazine dedicated entirely to health and wellness. What you can see from this cover is that the content inside this issue actually 100% came from our digital sites. We know from research that health and wellness are important topics to our Reader's Digest audiences across all platforms. So after doing some testing, we decided that we would publish this first ever of the issue of the magazine drawn entirely from our digital content. The editors curated the best of this digital content and then created a special issue that's only available on newsstand. And as Samir and the rest of you all know, the newsstand market is not for the faint of heart. But we believe that there was clearly an opportunity to reverse engineer the process and bring our highly rated and trusted health and wellness content to a print magazine audience. The results? This will be one of our highest selling newsstand issues for the year. So incredibly exciting. Another way that we are feeding our audience's passion for our magazine brands is by creating and testing new product line extensions. Last year, we created the Taste of Home Special Delivery Box. This special box features home cooking products curated by our Taste of Home editors and especially our Taste of Home test kitchen staff because they know what it is that makes our audience excited. They work with our product and our marketing teams, and so what you find when you get this box is it's a gift to yourself, which people actually like to do, and you get some great kitchen gadget, like my favorite has been the 3-in-1 avocado tool. You might get seeds to plant your own dill in the summertime. You'll typically get some great spices to try. And we've had really great success with this. This is a credit card only business, so in terms of that revenue generation, it allows us to have a very high repeat business. We actually have over an 80% recurrence on this box, and it's great to see the letters and the comments that we get that people love this gift, if you will, for themselves. We believe that by creating new products such as these, we can expand our revenue streams and help us do something that is critical for success as a modern magazine media company. Again, adapt and adopt. We like to think of this as taking a hybrid approach to our business. We need to lean into those areas where we know from our experience can drive revenue and serve our audiences, but at the same time need to be able to quickly bring products to market that serve our consumers' passions and interests. About a year ago, I was struck by an article in Fast Company about a study conducted in Bentley University, a business school outside of Boston. And in this study, researchers examined 24 million job listings, looking at key skills across 9 industries. What they found was that employers wanted multifaceted employees who possess hard skills, such as database technology, coupled with business skills, such as communication and collaboration. This focus on hybrid employees is important at Trusted Media Brands because the days when employees only work in the content area or the advertising business area or the tech group are obsolete. I know last night at dinner, I was with Bo and Daniel, and one thing that Bo said, which I thought was great advice, is, whatever your internship is, whatever your job is, make sure you learn about other things that are going on in the company. And I couldn't agree more, because you want to be the person who understands how it connects. How does editorial lead to revenue? I mean, if you don't understand that, I think you're at a very significant disadvantage. We believe that it's critical to hire and retain employees who embrace multiple skill sets and work across disciplines. A recent article in The Drum described these employees as misfits. You may not love that term, although I think it's pretty funny. It basically describes people who are writers who can edit, directors who team with social media experts that are attuned to strategy and production, and art directors who code and design. I know one of the things that's been really impressive in our company has been the way our print editors have embraced data and metrics. And if you would have talked to somebody, I believe in magazine media 10, 20, and obviously previous to that, it was much more like they knew, their instinct. Their instinct was, we know what works. And of course now with digital, you have a tremendous amount of data at your fingertips. And our editors, instead of rebuffing that, have embraced that and said, well, what can I learn from this? And it doesn't mean that everything that works in digital is what goes in your magazine. A magazine has a different purpose with your audience. But there is something like that Reader's Digest Health special issue that allows you to think differently and make, I believe, better and quicker products. The achievements that we've had across our brands wouldn't have been possible if we didn't have those misfits with the ability to work across data-driven digital content to determine what types of products are valued and wanted most by consumers. Think about it for a minute. What are the most successful companies doing these days to grow? They're adapting to changes in the consumer marketplace and quickly innovating around that consumer. Whether it's large companies like Amazon, which is doing everything from creating original films and broadcast series to delivering groceries, or small retailers like the Denver area Choice Market, which is reinventing the small format convenience store by using local sources for products and combining technology both in-store and online that focuses on enhancing the consumer experience. We clearly are living in an age where using a hybrid strategy is good for your bottom line. But in order to grow your bottom line in a hybrid business, you have to have a culture of collaboration. Successful collaboration requires that your people be honest about what's working and what isn't working. When I embarked on my listening tour around the company, one of the key questions that I asked employees at all levels of the company was what was keeping them from achieving their goals. What I discovered is that people were not openly talking about their challenges, and as a company, we were not celebrating our successes. I wanted to change our culture to one where we could be honest and accountable for our business, and where we would reward contributions, both large and small. I know oftentimes when I'm with employees and they share with me something that hasn't worked, I thank them, because ultimately, if everything they did was successful, it would mean that we were not pushing the envelope in testing new ideas. And I think that's a really important thing in today's environment, to make sure that you are pushing the boundaries of possibilities. All right, this is my favorite. This is my rainbow cow, which a couple of you here probably know about. I give these to employees across all of those offices that I mentioned 3 times a year at our all-employee meetings. It's really a way of saying you are remarkable, because if you saw a purple cow, you would say, that's pretty amazing. I have given it to people for small contributions and for large contributions, but it is a way of saying you matter and you really made a difference. And just to share with you how I came up with this idea, the purple cow idea comes from a book by Seth Godin, but he didn't talk about giving them to employees. When my daughter, who's now 28, was in AP chemistry in high school, whoever got the highest grade on a chemistry test came home with a pencil. And I couldn't believe how excited she was. I mean, we had pencils at home. And, it really was like, it would be like, oh, I got the pencil, or my friend Stephanie got the pencil, or, how many pencils have you gotten? And I was like, oh, it is just an amazing reminder of what excites people. And it really is the little things very often of saying, thank you in a public forum, and you did a great job, and here is the cutest little cow unimaginable. Put it on your desk. I believe that shining light on these successes helps others in the company find ways to move their business forward. Let's face it, the best ideas usually don't come from the top. I wouldn't tell my investors that. No, I'm only kidding. Seriously, you want to hear from everybody. So in my closing of my remarks today, I really want to thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be with all of you, and thank you again, Samir, for inviting me. Our company, and all companies, regardless of their industry, that continue to innovate around the customer experience and embrace a hybrid approach to business will not only survive in the coming years, but they will thrive and grow. And I look forward to any questions you may have now or later, but thank you so much for your time. Yes.
Your demographic about the millennials shocked me. I did not know that. And I'm guessing before you got there that wasn't it.
So what's so interesting? So it's a great question. When I got there, I mean, Reader's Digest. I'll talk a little bit about Reader's Digest because that I think has been the biggest shock of all. Right, is how millennials are flocking to Reader's Digest. I mean, last month our traffic was up 179% on Reader's Digest. When I got to the company, Reader's Digest was posting one article a day. I mean, it was really mimicking the magazine, which of course made no sense. How could you only put one piece of content when no one's ever coming back to your site? And so we actually looked at it and said, okay, we believe that our content will work, and we put together a little investment plan, and we went to the board, and it was skyrocketed, right? We started investing in content, and the traffic just came and came and came. And we went back to the board, and we showed them the results, and they're like, well, how much money can you spend? Which you never hear from your board. And I think what we learned was that this bite-sized content was exactly what millennials were looking for. I mean, the irony, the sweet irony, that the original idea of Reader's Digest is such a millennial idea. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a joke, a little inspiration. And I think that was a moment for all of us, right? Because when you start running a company that's not invested any money, and you don't know what will happen. You don't know when you go back out in the market and say, hey, we're here. We know we haven't talked to you in the last 5 years, but we're here, and would you like to buy our products? And you kind of hold your breath. And for us, thankfully, we were able to see, yes, people did want our products. I think the corollary for the Taste of Home has been that here Taste of Home has been this recipe swapping brand for its 25 years, right? If you think Taste of Home was UGC in print 25 years ago before UGC existed. And so there's two things that Taste of Home has been able to do. We have over 6 million Facebook fans on Taste of Home. So we've been able to take that incredible print engagement and bring it over to Facebook, which I wouldn't have bet that would have happened so much, but it did, because these are people who, they have an opinion about everything and they want to share it with you. And we did this crazy video on making this raspberry jello thing, and people were like, oh, for St. Patrick's Day I use green jello, and I do this for that holiday and this, and that's the audience. And the other thing we learned for Taste of Home was that people were interested in more than just recipes, right? We had been in the box of recipes, but now we're doing about just under 500 pieces a month of non-recipe content. So what to do with all those peeps you got for Easter? We had like a 25-page slideshow on that, and people want that. Or best way to cut an avocado. Obviously, I have a thing about avocados. So that's been really exciting to sort of see the possibilities in digital that we may not have known. And I think for the family handyman, it's just the obsession with hints and tips. If you're a DIYer, you just love that crazy tip that someone did in their home and that you can learn from. So it's been an amazing, an amazing few years. Thank you.
Could you clarify? You said you have 2,000 pieces of content being created. Over how many properties is that? Is that 3 magazines? Or
So we have 3 large sites, which is the Family Handyman, Taste of Home, and Reader's Digest. We have a smaller Birds and Blooms site. We have then very tiny subscription sites for our enthusiast brands, so Reminisce, Farm and Ranch Living, Country Woman. But what we do is we put their content on Reader's Digest, so that if Country Magazine is doing a great piece on, the 12 most beautiful covered bridges in the United States, well, that can certainly live on Reader's Digest. And we made that decision because the Country Magazine website was never going to be seen by as many people as Reader's Digest's was, and that's a little tough for those editors, but we've tried to explain it to them, and it's all branded so that it came from Country Magazine.
Can you quantify of the 400, how many are maybe just proportionately are editorial? How many do a freelance thing, or do it all in house, and then back of house sort of finance and all that? Like, what's your corporate mix?
So it depends by brand. So for Reader's Digest, actually, we use the tool Skyward, which is a great editorial platform. That allows freelancers, I assume all over the world, but certainly all over the country, to write for the brand. And what happens over time is that you find out which writers resonate the most on your site. So I would say that we have a mix of staff and Skyward writers. That's been very, very successful for Reader's Digest. Family Handyman, on the other extreme, is very hard for us to use freelancers unless they're freelancers for the magazine, because we have tremendous domain authority in the do-it-yourself space. We're not light DIY, like how to fold a napkin. We're like how to build a shed, how to fix a repair. And so, we had hoped that maybe we could find some people through Skyward, and maybe for some lighter DIY, but we're really super careful. And if we have somebody's work that then has to be re-edited by our editor, well, then we really haven't gained much. And Taste of Home, I believe, is primarily in-house, but absolutely could use Skyward. So I think it's a mix, and on the video side, we have video studios in Milwaukee for Taste of Home and video studio in Minneapolis for Family Handyman. So we create all of that in-house, and we're getting smarter, I think, on sort of how to take one story and create that content in all forms. So I've seen a really big positive momentum for that.
Go ahead.
So now that you are driving all this amazing digital traffic and creating all this content, what are the creative ways that you monetize it?
So it's been interesting. I looked at numbers last week, and that as our traffic has increased so much, we're still selling the same percentage of magazine subscriptions, which I will tell you is an utter shock to me. And what that says, which is sort of good news for all of us, is that if you engage in our content on our website, you still will be interested in buying a magazine subscription. So obviously that's very important to us. Advertising is very important to us, and other products. So if you're on the Family Handyman, it's the opportunity to buy My DIY University. If you're on Taste of Home, you can get the Taste of Home special delivery box. And I think that will continue to be important to us. What other products and services can we launch? Our newsletters are a very profitable part of our business. We have a very active and highly engaged newsletter group. Please all sign up. So Taste of Home, you get your recipe of the day, Family Handyman. So each of our brands, Reader's Digest is relaunching their newsletter this month, and so I think that will be a lot more exciting. And what we see is that your newsletter audience is your most engaged audience, and so the amount of pages that a newsletter subscriber consumes far outweighs anybody that's coming in through search. So very important.
And we'll be hearing more from Bonnie during the panel discussion. I would like to move ahead with the program so the students who have a class at 9:15 won't exit when our next speaker is speaking. So
Great. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.